Hi, welcome to Cyber Guidance. And in this video, I would walk you through how you can investigate a successful phishing attack. The user has been compromised, the password and the token session has been stolen, and the threat actor has logged in successfully using these compromised credentials. Without wasting much time, let's just get straight into it. Soon as you receive the alert or the incident on your CM2, which is your security information and event management, first thing you want to do is to assign the incident on yourself. And in this case, I would be using tech creatives. You also want to set the status to active. And the reason why you're doing this is just to let others know that you're busy with this incident because there are some times whereby there are multiple people on duty. The next thing is to understand the scope of this incident. As you can see, there are multiple alerts, and the name of the incident is multi-stage incident. So that means all these alerts combined is what makes it a multi-stage incident. As you can see, there are multiple entities also, and these entities are everything that makes up this whole alert. For example, maybe the phishing link, the IP address, the recipient's email address, the sender's email address. For you to investigate this incident further, the next thing you want to do is to go into the Defender portal. And because the next here on Sentinel, which is the CM2 that I'm using, you can't really do much. You can do a deep investigation on here. So if we go directly into the XDR report, here we have an overview. We can, see the evidence and response. We can check who is affected and everything. So sometimes when you see multiple alerts like this, you get overwhelmed, but you just need to understand the nature of this alert that makes up this incident. Here it says a potential malicious URL click was detected. Then unfamiliar sign properties. So that means, for example, the user was using Google Chrome, and then all of a sudden the user used Firefox. So that's unfamiliar sign-in properties. A typical travel, the user was or is currently signed in Netherlands, for example, and then within 2 minutes the user signed in America. So that's not normal behavior. It's a typical travel. We see another alert again, a potential malicious URL click was detected. So now you can check the assets. And these assets are like, the users, the mailbox, basically everything that is being protected. You can refer to that as an asset. Next thing is you want to check the evidence and the response. So here you can gather all the artifacts. So which is anything you can just use for a further investigation. For example, the URL, you can check if it is a malicious URL. You can check the email that was being sent. You can check the IP address. So these are just evidence that you can gather for your investigation. In this case, based on the attack story, I can already tell that this is a successful attack. And one simple way is to check the assets, the users that are involved in this incident. You want to check their sign-in logs to see if there is any malicious or suspicious sign-in attempt. You can check that on, in my case, I'm using Entra, which is basically an identity platform where you can see risky sign-ins, user who is at risk. You can see the sign-in logs and everything. You can also create some conditional access policies here, and so many much things you can do on this portal. So here I can already see that this user signed in from Amsterdam with his IP address. And then if you look at the date and the time, not even 2031, then 2152, this user signed in America. And that's not And the reason why I said it's not normal is because it's not possible for you to travel from Amsterdam to America, to Washington, within an hour. So that's why if you check here, you can see something called a typical travel. So that's when you've currently maybe signed in Amsterdam, and then few hours or few minutes later the user signed in America. So it's not realistic. It's a typical travel. So next thing I want to do in this case is I don't want to give the threat actor more time because I can see here it's success. And I am not 100% sure that maybe the user using a VPN, I don't know. So next thing I want to do is just to revoke the sessions. So you are being proactive. And by doing this, if let's say for example the threat actor has logged in successfully using the compromised token sessions, if you do a revoke session it will kick the threat actor out, so this session is no longer valid. It will prompt you for a multi-factor authentication, so which is good, but we still need to know more. And I can just go back into the incident portal. I can check the evidence and response. I can, just try to investigate this URL to see what this URL is about. Does it take me to a Microsoft login page? Usually you would do this on a sandbox, but in my case, I simulated this incident, so I know what it's about. So I can just paste and go. Here it says dangerous site. So I have an idea that there is a possibility that one of the user or both the users clicked on this phishing link and then put in their credentials, and now they are being compromised. So next thing I want to do is just to check the email to see what it's about. And I can already see the sender address is this person. And then I can just go down into Explorer here. I already created another tab for that. And then so if you click on Explorer, you can just filter this sender address equals to, you can put in the email, and then you press enter. So here you can also see how many users has received the email from this sender. So I can see here, and all these here are just simulations. They're the things I did myself. So here you can email preview. So here you can see the context of the email. It says message details couldn't be found when a message is soft deleted or hard deleted. Okay, it says our meeting is tomorrow. Log in. So now I already have an understanding that okay, this user received a phishing email from this sender and now he's been compromised. So next thing I want to do is that I just want to reset the password of this user. And you can reset the password by just clicking here, reset password, and you can generate a temporary password by doing this. And this is really safe because now if the threat actor has logged in successfully, he would have to put in the new password. So we've done two things. We've revoked the user sessions and then we have reset the password, which is good. But still, we want to check, still want to check further what's going on and if there is anything else we can find. So we can check if this user or how many user has clicked on this URL and if there is maybe any successful URL click. And we can do that by clicking on here. Here it says fish. So that's good. And we can just do that by, if we go back to Explorer. Or you can also perform a threat hunting. That also makes everything easier. We can just, if I copy this URL here, then I can perform a threat hunting. So you can either perform a threat hunting or you can also check here where it says view all URLs. So there are two ways you can do this. You can see emails and you can see clicks, 4 clicks. So 4 times different user has clicked on this URL. And here we can see here that the email was sent by this user to twice, and then they also clicked on the link 4 times. So 2 times and 2 times. And now I know that okay, um, the malicious URL was clicked. Next thing, like I said, you can also perform a threat hunting to find this easy. So you can just create a rule, something like URL click. We can do that here. So you can, for example, say URL click event where URL contains, and then you can just paste this. And then you can set the time or the date. Here you can see click allowed. So this is also like a very fast way of finding when a user clicked on or you're trying to investigate a malicious URL and then you want to know who clicked on it. So you can just get the URL from the incident portal and then you can just investigate here. So now that we've found all these artifacts, it's also good to give the user a call to find out more information. Like, what did you see when you clicked on this URL? Did it take you to a Microsoft login page? Although we know this ourselves that this has happened, but still, it's good to get more information from the user that clicked on this malicious link. Next thing you want to do is that you now want to block this malicious URL. You also want to block the sender, and that's actually good because you don't know if maybe in the next few days the same sender is also going to send the phishing link. So you can just copy the sender email address and then you can move down to email and collaborations, policies and rules, threat policies, then tenant allow, block list. So here you can just block the sender. You can paste the email address, put it to never expire, and then you do the same thing for the malicious URL also. You can also copy the malicious URL, and then here it says validation results. Okay, we can maybe just refresh. So yeah, it's this sender has been blocked, and you can also do the same thing for the URL. So the temporary password which you created earlier, you want to give it or send it back to the compromised user so he can continue with whatever he's doing with his work. And also, one more thing that is also important to do is also in this kind of situation, you also want to revoke multi-factor authentication sessions. So that also helps, not just only revoke sessions. And soon as you're done with that, the user, logged in again, and you just want to, close the incident and then just put in your comments. I hope you really enjoyed this video. Kindly subscribe and give me a thumbs up. Thank you.